You want to know what's really happening to Harley-Davidson dealerships across America right now? They're not struggling. They're collapsing fast. And yes, this is going to make people uncomfortable because this didn't come from bad luck. They earned this. Before you click away, understand this was decades in the making. This isn't inflation. It's not the weak economy. This is about years of predatory behavior, cultural gatekeeping, and a belief that riders would never leave. Now the community that built them is standing back and watching silently. This is what happens when you confuse a captive market with real customer loyalty. IT all started in July 2025. We also call it the July Massacre. It started quietly. A single for-lease sign in a window in Ohio. An empty lot in Texas where bikes used to sparkle in the sun. But by the second week of July, the dam broke. In a span of 14 days, 73 motorcycle dealerships across the United States and Canada locked their doors forever. This is unprecedented. Even during the Great Recession of 2008, we did not see a collapse of this magnitude happen this quickly. These were not fly-by-night operations. These were legacy dealers. Shops that had been in families for 3 generations. Shops that survived the stagflation of the 70s, the interest rates of the 80s, and the dot-com crash. They survived everything, but they could not survive this. We visited one of these closed locations. It was weird. The signage was stripped. The showroom, which used to smell of oil and new leather, was empty concrete. A piece of paper taped to the door simply said, "Closed. Visit our website." That was it. 50 years of history, 50 years of community barbecues, charity rides, and new bike days erased in an afternoon. We spoke to a former dealer principal in Illinois named Big Jim. He ran a profitable Harley shop for 30 years. He was fighting back tears. He told us, "On Monday, corporate sent me a demand for a $2 million facility upgrade. They wanted me to rip out the floors and install premium lighting. On Wednesday, they cut my allocation of best-selling bikes, the street glides, the road glides, and sent me 10 electric live wires that I can't sell. On Friday, I realized I was bleeding $10,000 a week just keeping the lights on. I handed them the keys on Saturday. They didn't even say thank you." Jim is not alone. The industry is witnessing a mass extinction event, but unlike the dinosaurs, this asteroid was guided by the manufacturers themselves. They are culling the herd, and they don't care who gets slaughtered. You might think this is just the economy at work. You might think, well, interest rates are high. But wait. We have seen the internal memos. This isn't an accident. It is a planned execution, and the name of the operation is chilling. The leaked plan, Project Optimization. We have obtained information regarding a strategy circulating in corporate boardrooms in Milwaukee and Japan. They call it market optimization, but we call it dealer genocide. The goal is chillingly simple. Eliminate 40% of the North American dealer network by Christmas 2025. That is nearly half of the places where you can buy a motorcycle. Gone in 18 months. Because manufacturers like Harley-Davidson, Indian, and the Japanese Big Four have decided that the traditional dealer model is dead weight. They do not want 500 medium-sized dealers selling 200 bikes each. They look at that as inefficient. They want 100 mega dealers selling 1,000 bikes each. They look at Tesla, they look at Amazon. They see a future where you order your $40,000 CVO Road Glide on an iPad and pick it up from a massive glass warehouse in a major city. They view the small-town dealer, the guy who sponsors the local Little League team, the guy who knows your name, the guy who will lend you a tool on a Sunday, as a liability. They think his shop looks dated. They think his handshake deals are unprofessional. How do you kill a loyal dealer who has been with you for 40 years? You starve them. You flood them with inventory they can't sell, like electric bikes and small displacement starters, and you withhold the inventory they can sell, the high-margin tours. Then you demand million-dollar renovations to their showrooms. You change the signage requirements every 6 months. When they run out of cash trying to keep up with your demands, you revoke their franchise agreement for underperformance. It is a hostile takeover of their own brand. We are digging deep into the corporate greed destroying our passion. If you believe in supporting local business over corporate overlords, click that like button and subscribe. Help us spread the word before your local shop is gone. The plan is cruel, but the math behind it is even worse. The financial burden placed on these dealerships is mathematically impossible to survive. Let me explain the floor plan trap, the floor plan nightmare. To understand why dealers are closing, you have to understand floor planning. Most people think dealers own their bikes. They do not. They borrow money to put them on the floor. They pay interest on every single motorcycle sitting in the showroom, every single day. In 2026, interest rates are crippling. Let's say a dealer has $5 million worth of inventory. That sounds like a lot, but for a Harley dealer with 50 bikes and parts, it's average. At current commercial rates of 7 or 8%, they might be paying $40,000 a month just in interest. That is almost $500,000 a year. That is before they pay the electric bill, the mechanics, the rent, or themselves. In the past, manufacturers helped. They offered floor plan assistance. They would pay the interest for the first 90 days. That has evaporated. Now manufacturers are stuffing channels. They are forcing dealers to take inventory they didn't order. Here is the killer: curtailment. If a bike sits on the floor for more than 12 months, the bank demands the dealer pay off a chunk of the principal loan immediately. So not only are they paying interest, but suddenly the bank calls and says, "That Pan America hasn't sold. You owe us $5,000 today." A sales manager in California told us, "Harley sent us 25 Nightsters. Nobody wants a Nightster. They sit there collecting dust and costing us interest. Meanwhile, we have 10 guys waiting for a breakout, and Harley won't send us one. We are paying to store their failures. We are paying them for the privilege of holding their unsold inventory." Dealers are losing money on every sale just to get the bike off the books to stop the bleeding. It is a death spiral. They are selling bikes at a loss to pay the interest on the bikes they can't sell. The cities are hurting, but the rural areas are being completely abandoned. If you live outside a major metro area, you are about to lose your ability to ride. The rural purge. For 100 years, Harley-Davidson was the bike of rural America. It was the bike of the farmer, the factory worker, the small-town rebel. Not anymore. The market optimization plan specifically targets rural dealerships. The algorithm in Milwaukee says that a town of 50,000 people doesn't justify a dealership. They claim the throughput isn't high enough. They want you to drive 3 hours to the nearest metropolis to get your oil changed. This leaves vast areas of the United States and Canada without service support. Imagine living in rural Montana or the Dakotas or Northern Ontario. Your local dealer closes. The next nearest dealer is 400 miles away. If your bike breaks down, you are done. You cannot trailer it 800 miles round trip for a sensor failure. You cannot lose 2 days of work to get a tire change. These rural dealers are the ones who built the brand. They are the ones who hosted the chili cook-offs and the charity rides. They kept the Harley Brotherhood alive during the lean years of the 80s when the company almost went bankrupt. Now corporate views them as brand diluters. They think a small shop with oil stains on the floor damages the premium image. They want boutique experiences in Los Angeles and New York. They want to sell lifestyle clothing to influencers, not parts to bikers. We spoke to Pops, a mechanic in a small town in Georgia. His dealership closed last week. He said, "I've been fixing Harleys since 1980. Corporate came in and told the owner his showroom wasn't premium enough. They wanted marble floors. In a farm town, the owner told them to shove it. Now 50 years of history is gone, and I'm out of a job. The nearest shop is in Atlanta, 3 hours away. My customers are selling their bikes because they have nowhere to fix them. The small shops are dying. What replaces them? A nightmare of glass and sales quotas that treats you like a number, not a rider. The mega dealer dystopia. The manufacturers want consolidation. They are handing the keys to massive automotive groups. These are corporations that own 50 car dealerships and treat motorcycles like just another unit to move. Walk into a mega dealer, it feels like an airport terminal. It is cold, it is sterile. The staff are not riders, they are product specialists who were selling washing machines last week. They work on high-pressure commission. They don't know the difference between a Milwaukee 8 and a twin cam. They don't care about your ride to Sturgis. They do not care what you want. They care what they need to move to hit their monthly bonus. They will push you into a high-interest loan on a bike you can't afford. They will tack on prep fees, doc fees, admin fees, and nitrogen tire fill fees until the price is inflated by 30%. Good luck getting service at a mega dealer. You are a ticket number. The mechanics are under pressure to beat the book time, leading to sloppy work. We have heard horror stories of loose bolts, stripped threads, and scratches on brand new paint because the technicians are overworked and underpaid, while the dealership owner buys another yacht. You wait 3 weeks for an appointment, drop your bike off, and it sits outside in the rain for another week before anyone touches it. And when you complain, they don't care. You have nowhere else to go. They own the territory. Have you dealt with a mega dealer recently? Did they treat you like family or like a wallet with legs? Tell us your horror stories in the comments. We want to expose the worst offenders. The dealers are suffering, the riders are suffering, but the manufacturers are creating a fake narrative to hide the truth from Wall Street. The manufacturers lie. How do Harley-Davidson and others explain 73 closures in 2 weeks? They lie. They call it network streamlining. They call it healthy consolidation. They issue press releases talking about increasing throughput per outlet and optimizing the customer journey. They are cooking the books. By closing low-volume dealers, their average sales per dealer numbers go up. This looks good to shareholders. It looks like the brand is getting stronger. In reality, the brand is shrinking. They are sacrificing market share for short-term profit margins. They are burning the furniture to heat the house. They are also hiding the inventory crisis. By forcing the remaining dealers to take more stock, they can report shipped units as sold units on their quarterly reports. They don't care if the bike sits in a warehouse for 2 years. As soon as it leaves the factory, they count it as a win. It is a Ponzi scheme of metal and rubber. They are reporting record revenue while the dealer network collapses under the weight of unsold bikes. When you complain about your local dealer closing, they tell you it's for better service. They tell you the mega dealer has more inventory. They are gaslighting the customer base. They know the service is worse. They know the prices are higher. They simply do not care. They are betting that the Harley name is strong enough that you will put up with the abuse. They are lying about the present, but their plan for the future is even more disturbing. They are trying to change the very definition of motorcycle ownership. The lifestyle pivot. Harley-Davidson knows their core demographic is aging out. Instead of building affordable bikes for young people, they are doubling down on lifestyle. Have you noticed that dealerships are shrinking their parts departments and expanding their clothing sections? Some dealerships now make more profit on t-shirts, coffee mugs, and branded shot glasses than they do on motorcycles. The Christmas plan accelerates this. The surviving dealerships will be brand experience centers. They want to sell you a $60 branded candle. They want to sell you a leather jacket for $800 made in China. The motorcycle is just a prop in the corner to give the store authenticity. They are turning into a fashion brand that occasionally sells bikes. They are also trying to force the electric transition before the market is ready. They are demanding dealers install $50,000 fast chargers. If a dealer refuses, they lose their allocation of gas bikes. This is extortion. Rural dealers cannot afford 50 grand for a charger that will be used once a year. This is another tool to force the unworthy dealers into bankruptcy. They are pushing live wire down the throats of dealers who know their customers want V-twins, not batteries. The economy is collapsing around them. The local impact of these closures is creating ghost towns of the motorcycle world. The economic fallout. When a dealership closes, it is not just a shop closing. It is a local economic disaster. A typical dealership employs 20 to 50 people: mechanics, sales staff, parts counter guys, finance managers, porters. When 73 close, that is potentially 3,000 jobs vanished in 2 weeks. These are skilled tradespeople. A master Harley tech cannot just go work at Jiffy Lube. Their skills are specialized. They are losing their careers. They are losing their pensions. They are losing their livelihoods. Dealerships pay local taxes. They support local events. When they leave, the money leaves. The bike night at the local bar dries up. The charity ride for the children's hospital loses its biggest sponsor. The culture of the town takes a hit. The local diner where the riders met for breakfast on Sundays loses business. It is a ripple effect that hurts everyone. Here is the scary part for owners. When a dealer closes, they liquidate their inventory. They dump it at auction for pennies on the dollar. The market is suddenly flooded with cheap bikes. This crashes the value of your bike. If you bought a Street Glide last year for 30 grand and 3 dealers near you close and dump their stock, your trade-in value just dropped by 20% overnight. You are suddenly underwater on your loan because of corporate greed. It's getting worse. The manufacturers have one final demand for the survivors, and it will fundamentally change how you buy a bike forever. The service monopoly. You think the nightmare ends when you buy the bike? No, that is just the beginning of the extortion. The market optimization plan isn't just about sales. It is about creating a service monopoly that holds you hostage. Once the small, independent dealers are wiped out, the mega dealers own the territory. They have zero competition. And what happens when a corporation has a monopoly? They raise prices. We are already seeing premium labor rates hitting $250 an hour in major cities. That is $5 a minute to have a teenager change your oil. But the trap goes deeper. They are waging a digital war against your local independent mechanic. Manufacturers are locking the ECU, electronic control unit. They are using proprietary software to diagnose simple problems like a check engine light or an ABS failure. They are refusing to sell the diagnostic tools to independent shops. Imagine this. Your bike throws a code. You take it to old school Joe down the street, the guy who has fixed your bikes for 20 years. He plugs in his scanner and the bike locks him out. It says authorized dealer access only. You are forced to tow your bike to the mega dealer. The mega dealer is understaffed because they fired the master techs to save money. So they tell you, we can get you in 6 weeks. Your riding season is over. Your bike sits outside in their lot, rotting in the sun, while you make payments on a machine you cannot ride. They do not want to fix your 5-year-old bike. They want you to get frustrated, trade it in for pennies, and sign a new loan on a new bike. They are trying to kill the right to repair. They want to turn motorcycle ownership into a subscription service where you own nothing and pay for everything. But there's one more model that's going to drive you nuts. You can already guess what it is. The agency model. The end game is the agency model. You see it in Europe already. The manufacturers want to eliminate the dealer's ability to set prices entirely. They want a fixed price, no negotiation, no deals. You pay MSRP plus fees, take it or leave it. They claim this is transparent. In reality, it removes competition. If every dealer has to charge the same price, you cannot shop around for a better deal. You are a captive audience. They want you to buy online. They want the dealership to be nothing more than a delivery center. You won't be able to walk in, smell the leather, and test ride 3 different bikes. You will have to configure it on a website, put down a non-refundable deposit, and wait 3 months. They are taking the soul out of the purchase process. They want to turn buying a motorcycle into buying an appliance. They want to own the customer data. They don't want the dealer to have a relationship with you. They want the relationship. They want to sell you subscriptions for heated grips. They want to sell you software updates for your suspension. They can only do that if they cut the dealer out of the loop. This is a fight for the future of motorcycling. We need to vote with our wallets. Do not support the mega dealers. Find the last remaining independent shops and keep them alive. Buy your parts from them. Get your service from them. Share this video with every rider you know. The industry is counting on our silence. We must be loud. The closure of 73 dealerships is not a statistic. It is a warning siren. It is the sound of an industry eating itself alive in pursuit of quarterly profits. Harley-Davidson and others are gambling their legacy on a strategy that alienates their most loyal supporters. By Christmas 2025, the landscape will be unrecognizable. The small shops will be gone. The rural routes will be empty. And we will be left with glass cathedrals selling t-shirts to people who don't ride. Support your local dealer while they are still there. Because once they are gone, they are never coming back. Click the next video to continue the road trip. Join our tribe by subscribing. And if you want to support our channel and have early access on the newest videos, become a member. And don't forget to like this video. Until the next one, make sure to ride safe.